podcast, proudly sponsored by fundraisingcup.org Ministries. We're honored to have a dear friend and returning guest back to our show, Dr. Neena Richie. Dr. Richie has spoken with us before about her experience as a targeted individual, and today we're deep diving into some freedom of speech, government accountability, and some very controversial policies making headlines today in the UK. And here in the US, Dr. Richie, thank you for being here with us again.
You're welcome. Good evening. Good evening to the viewers.
Yes, good evening. Last time we spoke to you, Ms. Richie, you explained to everyone what it meant to be a targeted individual, the harassment, surveillance, and psychological operations. Since then, many listeners have asked us, is part of the gang stalking you've personally experienced tied into local authorities? For example, reports of landlords or taxpayer-funded agencies providing access to women's apartments to install hidden cameras, or even theft of personal items.
Oh, okay. I was reading the Article 10 of the Human Rights. As we know that our freedom of expression and censorship in the United Kingdom is being violated. So on this basis, I'm giving an interview on Article 10 of Human Rights. Expression, freedom of expression. Everyone has a right to freedom of expression, the right to include the freedom, hold the opinion, and receive impartial information, ideas, and interference from the public authorities. I have the right to speak publicly, to share my views, including criticism of public authorities, Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea councils, politicians, members of the House of Lords, police, National Health Service, councils, education, without censorship or retaliation from any individuals, organizations, or institutions.
Okay, understood. And so in regards to the question I asked about the last time we spoke, and you explained what it meant to be a targeted individual, can you explain to us a little bit about, what's been going on with you with these reports and landlords or taxpayer-funded agencies and access to women's homes with hidden cameras? Can you please elaborate, please?
Of course. Yes, that is very real concerns. Many victims describe coordinated institution with personal space and compromise. I have been a victim of these crimes. When I used to campaign for political parties, I had many women, single mothers, and obviously men used to tell me regards to trespassing to the property, sharing personal keys, harassment by the local taxpayers' authorities, police writing fake Mullin reports about unfound mental illness when we report crime, then coordinated with the doctors, National Health Service doctors, and the police and local taxpayers' authorities. Without the patient or the victim of crime not knowing what allegation they're fabricating, and obviously I'm one of those victims. One morning I had two police officers, 9 o'clock in the morning, two psychiatric doctors and social worker knocking on my door. I've never had a police officer knocking on my door for wrong reasons before. I was a little shocked and I said, no need to be alarmed, Miss Richie, but we're here. We have a court order to arrest you. They brought a court order without my authority, without me knowing, because I reported a crime of gang stalking, harassment, trespassing to my property, stolen items, and local taxpayers authorities, Royal Borough of Kensington, Chelsea Council, colluded with my ex-client who threatened to kill me for the last 8 years. And Lord Rami Ranger was part of shielding this crime. So it was a political motivated. Yes, so I'm lucky to be alive because if I had not shared my story on social media, I don't think I'll be here giving this interview or the other interviews. So by grace of God, Ashua, I'm here. And by grace of social media, I'm still here. And when I shared my story last time when I did an interview and I shared it on social media, I got a letter saying that if I don't take all my interviews out, they're going to put me in prison and charge me £5,000. So that's the reason that I read Article 10 of Human Rights, of Freedom of Expression. Now, what they've done now, further to that, I make documentary exposing further misconduct by the local taxpayers authority, Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council. They kept me here to gang stalk me, harass me, install spy cameras, hack my phones, seven of my phones. I get an alert 4 o'clock in the morning that my internet, my Wi-Fi has been hacked. I called the police. My SIM cards were blocked. I called my provider that my SIM card, why did you block it? He said, Dr. Richie, we didn't block it. Called the police. I reported to the police, and behind my back, the police, instead of investigating the crime, they conducted a fake Mully report saying I've got a paranoia, I'm mentally ill, and I'm reporting this crime. So they, behind my back, the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council management, my own doctor whom I knew, Dr. Brannick, for 14 years, from ECMO surgery, they all colluded behind my back and wrote fake Mully reports saying I've got paranoia, I'm mentally ill, I need to be arrested and put in a psychiatric ward. And I was literally shocked.
Oh my God.
So they came into my apartment actually, and I explained to them that this is political motivated, that's why you're here. And they went with red face and they said to me, Dr. Richie, you're perfectly fine. You're quite intelligent woman. You know what you're doing. You are not mentally ill. So they just went. They left. So since then, I've been writing to House of Parliament, House of Lords, law enforcement agencies to expose this, and National Health Service Fraud Department to investigate this matter. And now we have, thank God that we've got, this is all motivated by Freemason institution and member of Freemason who are protecting each other. So this is what's been going on here.
Oh, wow, that's very chilling. And that was going to be my next follow-up question was, who do you think is involved in this? And the other thing is, Ms. Richie, I know that I interviewed quite a few targeted individuals, and one thing that I've noticed that has been a common denominator is the fact that when they speak up and vocalize what's happening to them, a lot of times they are being pushed or channeled into these false diagnoses immediately. And so I'm just wondering, to what extent does this network, this Freemasonry network, have connection with doctors and lawyers and law enforcement, in your opinion?
Well, there are members of the House of Parliament. We have had debates, actually, on this with the government disclosure and everything. So there has been debate about Freemason institutions in the House of Parliament or House of Lords, and the House of Lords and the House of Parliament have given a speech and said that it's so dangerous to have Freemason members in a National Health Service, in a local taxpayers authorities, and educational system, and House of Parliament or House of Lords, because he's a decision maker, it's conflict of interest, and it's against the Christian values, that British values that we uphold. This is a Christian country, and Freemason do not align with those Christian values at all. And when we have Freemason members in National Health Service, in local council, taxpayers authority, Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council, and House of Lords, like I'm going to give an example, Lord Rami Ranger, he's abusing his position of authority. And he's involved in cash for favors. My ex-client, he's a criminal. He's got a criminal background, but I'm a victim of crime. And I'm being targeted, and he's being shielded. They've been shielding each other. So this is Freemason brotherhood and sisterhood. They have their covenant. So no matter what crime they commit, They have to protect each other. So this is the conflict of interest that's been having. But now even the police, our law enforcement agency are questioning that every police officers who are Freemason, they have to declare that they're Freemason. So now we're trying to see if we can get the National Health Service, local taxpayers authorities and everyone to revoke Freemason members in this institution, because I'm the primary example of as a victim. I'm not getting justice. My other colleagues are not getting justice. They've been targeted. They've been blacklisted. I've been blacklisted. I have another lady in educational. Her son was targeted in the education system. I have another lady in National Health Service. She's a nurse, very reputable, very respected. She's been targeted in a National Health Service, and they blacklisted her. So obviously, and she's a senior nurse. She dedicated herself in the National Health Service as a nurse, and she's been targeted. Now so we have been targeted unlawfully by Freemason members, and this is absolutely disgusting. And we've done nothing wrong. We are the victim of their crime, and they are the one who's committing crime. Breaking into apartments, stealing items, hacking into phone calls, listening to phone calls. They're just trespassing to properties, installing spy cameras.
Wow, that's really serious and
this is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening in London, and I have never come across anything like this. I was literally shocked. 2023, I was gonna actually get a political asylum somewhere. That's how dangerous they made it for me. And the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council are actually acting as a mafia gangs. This is how they're behaving, sharing personal keys with a third party. I found 2 men outside my front door and another guy with a bunch of keys.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, listen, what's going on? As soon as they saw me coming towards my apartment, they moved away.
It's, these supposed neighborhood watch groups are getting bribes and non-disclosure agreements, from what I'm hearing from targeted individuals internationally, and their civil rights and liberties are being violated every single day. I know back in the 90s, from what I recall, Parliament even debated Masonic influence in public life. And, some of the MPs urged disclosure back then, warning of secrecy and unfair advantage. Now, here in the U.S., a similar Full Disclosure Act is being floated around, which I'm in full support of. I'm all about transparency. Believe that. And as a targeted individual, do you see this policy as transparency or just another form of surveillance?
Yeah, of course, yes. In the House of Parliament, Chris Mullen, MP, Labour Party Affairs Select Committee inquiry on Freemasonry in a public life in 1997 to 1999, which examined the police, judiciary, and other public bodies, National Health Service, CPS, to transparency, and House of Lords ministers, Lord William of Mosley, Home Affairs Minister, reported Freemasonry Declaration as voluntary registered law 1999. And they raised these concerns in the Parliament, National Health Service. There have been common motion press reporting about the National Health Service appointees and Freemasonries abusing position of authority. It's dangerous to have them in these institutions. Because it's a conflict of interest. We have QCs, lawyers, judges. We cannot get justice.
Well, it seems like it's really getting out of hand, and that's why we want to make an effort here at fundraisingcup.org and this podcast show to give you guys the forum to speak about what's happening behind the veil and how your civil liberties are being violated every day. This seems like something that's not really brought public, and it's kind of one of those who's who that know what's going on behind the scenes. But, speaking of speaking of freedom of speech and censorship, we're seeing troubling signs out there in the UK. I wanted you to give us an idea of what's going on with digital ID. The UK government is pushing a mandatory system by 2029 storing identity credentials in gov.uk app, claiming it will simplify services. Critics warn it creates an enormous hacking target. From your perspective, especially being a targeted individual, I would like to know, would you put your trust in the government giving them even more information with what's being compromised of your privacy right now?
I mean, our privacy has been compromised already. As I said, I've had trespass into my properties. I've had my bank accounts hacked, my social media hacked, and monitoring 24/7. This is my privacy and my violation. Have been targeted, and none of the government officials are supporting our women here. Oh, obviously the citizen. And with the digital ID, I think we've got over 2.5 million signatures now, a petition to revoke the digital ID. So the petition is rising. So let's just hope that it's going to be debated in House of Parliament, and we wouldn't have this digital ID because and 10-minute cities as well. They're trying to do 10-minute cities. I don't know. They're trying to control everything here.
Yes. Yes, and we're keeping an eye over in China because they seem to have taken a lot of these initiatives already with 15-minute cities and with digital ID already in circulation. And so we're watching closely as to how the restrictions are occurring over there first to get an idea of what they're trying to expand on both in the UK and the US. So we'll definitely keep our audience briefed and updated with what's happening over there. Do you worry this sets a precedent? Could disclosure creep into religion, politics, or even activist groups, Dr. Richie?
Of course, we have a lot of activist group. We had big gathering here regards to what the government are doing. Well, Freemason, I'm not going to blame the government because Freemason are running the show, and we want to get rid of this Freemasonry from the government institutions who are abusing position of authority, whether it's in the House of Lords as well. And citizens are being targeted who are non-Freemasonry. And this is diabolical. And Freemasonry are just an institution, charitable organization, and they're trying to run the show here, which is unacceptable behavior. Let's see what we can do, what the public gonna do next. So I can't say much on that at the moment because I don't know, I don't have the exact figure. But the latest that we've had is Metropolitan Police are saying that they want any police who are Freemasons, they need to disclose themselves, they're Freemasons. I mean, I had to write to the House of Parliament, House of Lords, human rights organizations, and the Metropolitan Police inquiry regards to my situation, writing fake Mullin reports that's ruining my reputation. That I have built with 43 years of serving society with my own, funded with my own money, paid taxes for 41 years, and national insurance. And they're restricting, Lord Rami Ranger thinks because he's a Freemason, he can block everything for me, you know. And I don't know why. I've done nothing wrong to none of these people. Mine was just a civil matter. And they just, if, as you know how Freemason work, if one member is taken to court, the whole Freemason Brotherhood will gang up on innocent women and target them. This is absolutely disgusting, and this Freemason need to be really looked into and investigated, whether it's in America, whether it's in United Kingdom. The institution should be actually been put as a criminal organization. All I've seen from the members is crime.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. they're committing heinous crimes against women. They're targeting single mothers and single women. This is disgusting. And stealing from a woman is a more degrading. How low can a man and Freemason go that they have to steal from a woman, then attack them, then gang stalk them and harass them and steal from them? That's the lowest of the low that humanity can go. And that's who Freemasons are. They should be targeted, they should be classed as a criminal organization.
You know, we brought up here several times that these actions should be investigated by the International Criminal Courts because it's happening so much to so many people all around the world, we're hearing. And it's amazing that, you know, local government and law enforcement are kind of taking their hands off of what's going on and not giving people their due justice and enforcing their civil liberties and civil rights. And so this is why it's so important that we vocalize what's happening, because I don't think everyday people realize how quickly their rights could be compromised with just one member of this group. I mean, you could blink, and before you know it, your reputation, your financial assets, your just your entire social life can be destroyed in a blink of an eye. And it's very important that we start raising awareness and letting people know this is what's happening to citizens. They're not, you know, going through any kind of psychosis or mental disorders. They're being targeted, point blank and simple, and we need to do something about it as a community.
Of course, we need to. I mean, I'm looking into getting a petition going, and I have spoken, but people are scared of Freemasons because they don't want their businesses to be targeted. They don't want to be blacklisted. So people are quiet, and this is what Freemasons are doing. They harassing, they're threatening. Like I'm a prime example. My business could have been worth £2 to £3 million. I would have had my PhD in law by now. My education is ruined. My reputation is ruined. And Lord Rami Ranger, the Conservative Party members, and the Labour Party members are basically attacking the citizen, and they're shielding the crime, and they're behaving like mafia gangs rather than supporting and breaching the human rights violations.
Yep. We're hearing that all over, and it's really important that it's being permitted and that no one's stepping up in law enforcement and saying, you know, enough is enough. We're not going to permit this kind of, like you say, mob and thuggish behavior to steal from other people. We're going to set a precedent, and if you guys cannot follow the law, then as you mentioned, you guys will be labeled as a criminal organization. This needs to be enforced, in my honest opinion, as a podcast host and what I'm hearing from so many victims of what's happening around the world.
Yeah, we need to sort of have this organization as a criminal organization, because from the members, all I've seen is a crime. Honestly, I haven't seen a reputable, law-abiding Freemason yet. I was literally shocked that Freemason would do something like this. They call themselves an elite organization. They call themselves a charitable organization. And I don't think so. Every time we report a crime in Action Fraud charity, which Lord Ashcroft is chairman of that charity and Crime Stoppers. And he's a 33-degree Freemason. That's why my client is getting protection, and he's committed heinous crime. He's got a criminal background. He threatened to kill me. I had death threats, I had harassment, installation of spy cameras, and I've had all sorts of nonsense. They poisoned my food, and I became sick. I had monoxide poisoning. I had to call the fire brigade at 2 o'clock in the morning. Because they were meddling with the gas and pipes here to cause a fire, to kill me. Actually, this was their plan. That's why they kept me here. And the Royal Borough of Kensington Chelsea Council are involved in this heinous crime and shielding it. Member of the Labour Party MPs. and the Conservative Party MPs are part and parcel of shielding this crime. And these are the member of the House of Parliament who is supposed to uphold the rule of law. But they're actually breaking the law against the citizen.
Yep. And this is why it's so important to have you back on, Ms. Richie, on a repeated basis to hear these stories, hear the updates, because you know what? Everyone cannot be going through a mental disorder experiencing the same exact playbook, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's the only defense they try to use is mental illness. Nobody has a mental illness. Yeah. All I'm going to say to those Freemasons out there who are attacking women, and I think they need to be in a straitjacket because they have a mental disorder. Who on earth goes and attacks a woman and installs spy camera in a woman's apartment? Who on earth would go and steal and fabricate stories and put the lives at risk of women and children?
I agree with
you. And men.
And I think that's something that
only the one who have got a psychological problem, they are the one who's causing harm and alarm in the society.
Yes. And it's very critical that we emphasize children are being attacked too. Number one.
Of
Number
course.
Two,
one of my colleagues, she's a single mother, and her son was attacked.
Yes.
He's been, and he couldn't, he was attacked. He was so interested in doing bricklaying. He was interested in educating himself, but the police attacked him. And she's a single mother of 5, so these Freemasons need to get their act together, otherwise they're going to lose everything.
And like I said, that's number one, right? That there's no restraint on whether it's an adult or child, or an elderly person for that matter, that can be attacked by this group. And then secondly, the idea of soliciting neighborhood watch groups and enticing even young children to partake in criminal conduct, that's taken this to a whole nother level as a society that we need to put our feet down and say enough is enough.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
But I'm going to say this, Dr. Richie, you've painted a sobering picture today. Targeted individuals facing intrusion, spiritual censorship, looming digital ID systems, and the complicated question of secret associations in government. What final message would you leave with our listeners today?
Today, the message I will be leaving with the listeners today is to keep fighting for truth and justice and have faith in God. If I did not have faith in God, I don't think I'll be alive. They would have killed me. And for last 8 years, they tried to do that. And obviously, share your story on social media, because that's the thing that's going to save you. And organization like yours and the charity that you're running for. And I'd like to thank you for bringing me on board on your podcast. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the charity that you're a part of. And I just want to say thank you to everyone. And I'm so grateful for my listeners who are listening, and keep fighting the fight, because trust me, have faith in God, because that faith in God is the one who's going to bring justice.
Amen.
And as Yeshua said, he actually fought institutions, and he died on the cross. He fought for truth and justice, and that's what I'm doing. That's what you are doing, and that's what my fellow comrades in London and United Kingdom are doing. Because truth always wins over lies, corruption, and fraud.
Absolutely, Ms. Richie. Very powerful words. I'm hoping that we can open the eyes of some citizens that are unsuspecting, don't know what's going on, and hopefully we can prevent them from, most importantly, becoming victims of this organization, number one, and number two, partaking in some of the illegal activities that the organization is asking them to partake in, hopefully will raise red flags and cause them to ask more questions about why they're being asked to steal, harm, and violate innocent citizens, and not to just comply simply because of fear. This is what we hope that will come out of these ongoing targeted individual interviews. So we're grateful for your courage, Dr. Richie, and your voice. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much to listeners. And I bless you all.
Okay, friends, that wraps up today's conversation on Can We Talk with Jewel with our dear friend, Dr. Neena Richie. If today's episode resonates with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear these perspectives. Make sure you follow the podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. Join the conversation. Drop us your thoughts, questions, or experiences in the comments or on social media. And if you believe in lifting up voices that challenge the system and push for truth, consider supporting the show so we can keep creating this space for open dialogue. Because at the end of the day, the more we talk, the harder it is for silence and secrecy to win. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and as always, let's keep talking. Bye.